Hey, David.
Yeah.
What you got there?
Plug.
Why?
You'll see. So we watched a movie today. Hooking Up. I know.
It was his pick this time.
We always go to comedies. And we always go to the bottom. And at the bottom there are all those ones that are like Cheerleader Ninjas or Sex Galaxy, which we did before. But it's... we always skip over them because we know they're going to be terrible. And so I picked one. And
The one worst thing besides a bad horror film is a bad comedy. Because nothing sucks worse than jokes that don't work.
there were jokes in this film?
I was about to get there. The problem with this thing being trying to be a comedy is that you need to have jokes in order for comedic timing to occur. This is starkly void of such. So,
You want me to give a plot?
I guess so.
Okay. I can't give a plot. I know I usually give plots if you've stuck around for a while, but I can't. Too much happens and not enough happens at the same time for there to be a concise plot. So, instead, I have visual aids.
Reminds me of Lords of Salem.
Shut up. Alright, so, this is a love triangle. It's standard. Each of these circles represents a person, and the arrows represent a relationship. As you can tell, there was a relationship in place here until this third person came in and fucked some shit up. Whether that was causing them to date, or cheat, or just be friends, this is what a love triangle standardly is. This is this movie. It is a dodecagon of lust and STDs. Except for down here. That's a principal who likes food. We may get to him.
Now, unlike the movie Kids, which I am convinced that the person who made this movie watched, all these little love interests, well, they're not even really love, it's just fucking.
It's just fucking.
It's just fucking. It's not even fucking, it's just a girl giving head to half the people in the movie.
There's one fucking.
There's one fuck.
Actually two if you
And I still think that they didn't use lube. So, I think her, like, you know, this is a good scene where
So
guy
Kids!
gets fucked in the ass. But, there's another thing about virgins and whatnot. Oh my god. Alright. I can't get into it. This movie is primarily about sex, obviously. The movie is called Hooking Up. So, you would think that there would be more.
You're blowing my mind here.
You would think that there would be more to the characters than just their fascination with fucking.
No, actually, I'm pretty sure that's all I expected. I wish there was more, but I only expected every character to be like, dude.
But I didn't think every conversation was going to be the same fucking thing. And they only had like 6 locations.
They only had 6 plots. You followed like 6 different people. There's a group of 3 friends, and then there's like this abusive relationship, and then there's this girl who's a slut, and this girl who wants to
Let's
become a
go through
slut.
bullet points here.
Bullet points? Alright, should we just go like plot by plot, or what do you want to do here? Like, because we can't go beginning to end, it jumps around too much.
No, it doesn't. I mean, let's just go through each point right now. Alright.
Okay.
Major things. The acting is basically what is the only thing that kind of held this together for us.
Everything else is either below average or average. This is slightly above. When it comes to at least ShitFlix things.
Yeah, when it comes to ShitFlix, I mean, you have to realize our standards have gotten really low.
Yeah, as long as you don't, as long as you don't have camera shadow in every single shot, we'll give you a D. Probably.
Not necessarily.
It makes me sad. Okay. Yeah, acting. It was okay.
Let's just say, alright.
We gotta talk about who's in it.
Throughout the film, we made several realizations about who's in this cast. Number 1, and the biggest name in it, Corey Feldman.
Now, you youngins may not know who he is, but there was a Corey thing back in like 80s and 90s. Just Google it, you'll find it.
Lost Boys, Goonies. He was a staple of the kids kids adventure and all that jazz and whatnot in the 80s.
And now he is an abusive boyfriend who does cocaine and wants sluts all the time.
Now, is he good at the role?
Is he good at making me hate him? Yes. I despise that character. I loathe that character. If that character got AIDS and then walked out in front of a bus, I would hope he had to live with his injuries and his AIDS.
He's got cunt worms.
That was an ending credit thing.
I love how that literally is a legitimate thing in this.
Anything that's mentioned within the first half of the film comes back.
It's all like all the stuff. All right, the very first shot in this movie is actually a really long shot. It probably goes on for like 3 minutes. Now, at first, you would like think that this is a bold thing. Like, it's like, all right, he's going for the long take. To be honest, actually, considering the angles that they use in this movie, as well as the pacing, I don't necessarily think it was an artistic choice. I think it was just because they didn't want to do coverage.
You see how this is like all one thing? This is all one take? It's because we don't want to have to set up 4 different cameras around the room and switch between them so that you don't have to stare at this exact same set. We just want to give our thoughts out. That's kind of what he wanted to do. He wanted to make a movie, but he didn't know that you need multiple shots and angles.
To be fair, there's plenty of films. I mean, I've seen a handful of films that were actually all shot in one shot, like Ghost House, Russian Ark, and whatnot. Some really great movies. But, still, they knew the point of editing when it comes down to it. And editing is more than just linear cutting and assembling. It is also how you block the fucking movie. And the blocking in this film is atrocious. There's this one scene that literally we think is about to turn into... Have you anyone seen the porn company Innocent High? One of the scenarios literally starts playing out like that. Yeah. The teacher's in there grading papers, and the girl comes in and is like, "Hi, can I talk to you?"
He's like, "Oh, well, I just need to finish grading.
Just sit down real quick and whatnot." And then all of a sudden she's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry. What's wrong?" And she takes off her thong. She's like, "I'm sorry, this thong is really bothering. Can I take it off?" I was like, "I usually don't wear any panties." And then the funny thing is, she shoves it in his top pocket as her dad, the principal, is walking in.
Okay, well, on that note, because you kind of jumped from everything to everything.
I can't tell, because the thing is, the movie does the same thing. All right. My mind is so jumbled.
Follow my lead here. All right, we talked about Corey Feldman, mildly. Let's talk about the principal, who we just mentioned. It is played... I really wish I knew his name, but I'm going to say a role. Dante from Clerks.
Of all people, you would think that he would be funny. And to be honest, actually, I think he tries.
He's having fun with his role.
He definitely is going a little over the top. He is hamming it up and all that jazz. And, the one thing is, though, it really pisses me off because I love Clerks. And he's really genuine in that movie. Even though it's a comedy, it's crazy and screwball and whatnot, it's Kevin Smith. What are you going to do? But at the same time, I believed it. Not this movie.
This movie, if a character is believable, then they're doing their job wrong in this movie.
I guess so.
All right, next character.
I didn't believe the slut, though, because the sluts, whenever they say that kind of shit and whatnot, they're trying to justify.
Well, then let's do that. Let's talk about the...
let's talk about the slut.
Yeah, well, no. Let's just talk about all the girls of the movie as a whole.
All right.
Okay.
And not all of them are sluts. I'm not trying to be, not all of them. Well, you can't say... Oh, there's the...
Yeah.
I was about to say, there's... No. No. Then there's this one girl who you think that would be okay, and then, the ending credits ruin that.
There are 4 girls in the movie that are important. There is... one girl who's just straight up slut, but she...
I feel bad for the girl who's just passed out in that one scene. Okay. She just gets groped up.
There's 5 girls.
That was her moment of glory. She was like the groped up teen.
Hold on. There's one girl who is a virgin. She is pure, but she gives blowjobs to every guy she meets. We'll talk about her later part.
You know the girl from high school and whatnot. The one who with false protestations of modesty, but in reality she just loves bruising the back of her throat with cock.
The next one is a super pure virgin girl, but she's been hearing about this stuff, and she's like, well, maybe I want to try this.
Well, she's not super pure or whatnot.
No, she was super pure at the beginning.
At the beginning, yes, and whatnot. But the thing is, though, and also, Alright, it kind of reminded me of Deep Throat, how, you know, the girl was, like, trying to figure out how to have an orgasm. Well, this girl, apparently she's never had sex, and apparently she's really curious about it.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you're a virgin and you fuck for the first time, it doesn't hurt at all. Because she didn't go through any of that shit when she fucked later in the movie. But apparently, that's in this fantasy world. Oh wait, doesn't that go back to the conversation at the very beginning of the movie? And I was like, it's a fantasy, so you know,
no girls are ever on their
no
period.
girls ever get the period. Jesus Christ!
All right, after that, you got another girl who is the girlfriend. Oh, keep in mind,
Caroline.
We have mentioned Corey Feldman. We have mentioned Dante, and there's also a teacher character whose name is Kimball. He was in what movie?
He was in The Langoliers.
He's the lawyer of You're Scaring the Little Girl.
Yeah. Scaring the Little Girl!
Yeah. Pretty funny, but
very, very animated.
not in this film.
No,
but
no.
He's
only in 2 scenes, really, basically.
Yeah, they are the adults. Everybody else in this movie, everybody else is supposed to be under 18. So when we say that Corey Feldman is having sex with a girl, we mean
Corey Feldman is having sex with a girl.
We mean a 28-year-old having sex with a, 15 to 17-year-old. Let that sink in for a moment there.
And also, you see a lot of tits.
Oh, yeah.
In this movie.
Oh!
And the thing is, though, with these characters supposing to be between 15 and 17 or 18 years old, you do realize that is considered
child pornography.
Yeah, now obviously none of the actors in this movie are even close to being those
They're
ages.
all within their
They're
early to mid-20s.
Yeah, definitely. If some of these people were 15, damn. They developed early and they developed well.
Alright, there's one more girl. There's a few more girls. There's one girl who's in an abusive relationship with her boyfriend, and she just... Even though he's saying,
he
like...
beats her!
He beats her?
He beats her, calls her a bitch to her face.
Like,
he fucks a girl in front of her.
And she's still like, baby, I love you, baby.
She fucks better than you anyway. And the thing is, though, he tries to make her have a threesome with her.
With the virgin who turned slut.
And the funny thing is, well, this is not funny at all. As a matter of fact, it's fucking disgusting.
Heart-wrenching.
She's crying. She's literally crying while this is happening. I'm like, you do realize this is called rape, you know?
If you've ever known somebody who's in an abusive relationship, like, not even just abusive, like, they are so into someone who just does not want anything to do with them, but she keeps on going back. If you know anyone like that, even if the genders are reversed, this is what that is, and it is soul crushing to watch it progress to the point where it is.
It's fucking sad, and to be honest, actually, abuse in that type of relationship, because of the way that the psychiatric demeanor goes when it comes down to the person being abused, they actually feel as if that's still a rock. I mean, like, there's an idea behind this relationship that is legitimate about when it comes down to abusive relationships and people going back to each other, but at the same time, it completely negates any actual legitimacy to it. And this is a really fucking serious issue. It's not something you can easily make light of.
It's not something you can put under the comedy section of fucking Netflix.
And also, since Corey Feldman's character is supposed to be 25 and this girl's supposed to be 17 or whatever, but like the fact that he's in his late 20s, and even though that's bullshit, but like the girl is supposed to be 17 years old. Think about this. And this is just the fact of the matter, especially when you're in high school, you have a very narrow view of the world. And also your idea of what love is. Now, I'm not saying I know what love is because, you know, it's different for every person and whatnot, but at the same time, what love is in high school to you is not necessarily the real world. Most likely, it's not. 95% of the time, it's not.
I mean, good for you high school sweethearts.
I mean, there's plenty of high school sweethearts that end up being married for like 50, 60 years or whatever and whatnot. It's like, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but at the same time, especially in today's world, and I'm speaking as a member of the millennial generation here, yeah, it doesn't work like that with anybody anymore.
Alright, really quick, we don't even need to talk about them, I just want to bring them up. The other two girls are, there's a girl who is just in the back of a library, Like, throughout 3 different scenes, it was just...
Same camera angles the entire, each one of the times.
Hearing this group of boys talk about, like, dude, they're gonna have this, like, blowjob party.
The rainbow party.
The rainbow party.
They're gonna wear different lipsticks, and it's gonna be,
and the girl sitting in the back, like, shut the fuck up.
Now, the first scene that we see her in there, she's just in the background, just constantly... One, the continuity in this movie sucks. But, like, she keeps looking at them, and the scene ends, and David was getting really pissed.
She's like, sitting back there. It's like, okay, at first I thought she was an extra. I thought that she was an extra who's just in the back of the scene, but she kept on reacting to everything that the main characters were saying. I'm like, no, if you're an extra, you mind your own fucking business, you keep your head in the fucking book, and you don't react. As soon as it revealed she was the character, I was more okay with it. But I really wish they would have established that at some point before I raged.
And then the third time you see her in the library, you realize that she is the partner of this guy John Johnson, who actually is a decent actor. Not in this movie.
We'll get to him when we talk about the boys.
Yeah, but apparently she was the partner of this dude,
and she apparently promised.
No, there was 2 different promises apparently, because originally in the promise that he said
that was the only promise.
Well, no, he said in the library is like, as long as I leave her alone, she'll do the project.
Oh, well, that's not promise.
And I'm
that's
like,
an agreement.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, at the same time, though, at the very end of the movie, he's like, all right, well, you do the project, now it's your turn to fill up your end of the bargain or something like that.
He has a major fucking foot fetish.
He's Quentin Tarantino as a kid.
Major foot fetish.
He's also, like, really into voyeurism, so I can tell he's going to be a filmmaker eventually.
Oh, wow, I didn't think of that. The deal that they had was, if they got an A on the project, she would essentially give him a foot job.
She'd give him a foot job.
If you don't know what that is, don't Google it unless you're really curious.
And if you do Google it and whatnot, just make sure you get the person to wash their feet before doing it.
So, yeah, and then there's the last girl who was just passed out on the couch at the party, and then John comes and was like, all right.
Tennis.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
got some action.
Like, no, that's sexual harassment, and she doesn't have to take it.
No. I got some action.
Second base, and she was not even aware.
And that's all the girls.
I will say at least one thing. At least he had the decency to not go any further.
That's not a good comparison.
It's not a good comparison, but to be honest, actually, I'm a silver lining, half glass kind of full kind of guy, but...
Alright, now for the guys. I'm going to very, very briefly
Let's
go
just
over the guys.
blow through
them. Alright, so...
Blow.
There was the brother of the super slut. We don't know his name because
I can't remember. I think it was like
he
Sam or
just
like that.
masturbates to everything.
Every scene he's in, he's masturbating. He's even worse than that guy in Ken Park.
Terrible. He's just like, and we're off. Every single scene.
Oh, he whacks off to his sister.
Yeah.
He even steals her panties and sniffs them while he's doing it.
Yeah, there's a later scene in the movie where a guy named Tyler, we'll get to him in a second, is ramming the slut sister up the ass.
Because she wants to save herself, so...
And so John and the brother character, the brother not knowing that it was the sister in the room, walk in and do a thing called a seagull, where you walk in, sneak behind them as they're fucking, jerk yourself off, and then come on them while going, ah, 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 like a seagull. Do you know how angry this movie gets me? It's a lot.
Urban Dictionary is used a lot in this. Alright, there's 2 things that are used in this that shouldn't have been used.
I really want to get to the guys because we'll never get back to them. Alright, John, as we said before, guy with the foot fetish, he's basically just like, yeah, let's get some action,
He's the Screech character.
Well, I mean, but Screech was never about getting action. Screech was just about being weird.
I know. He's weird about getting action.
Weird about getting action.
So he's the Screech character of this. I'm not saying he is Screech. He's the Screech character.
He brings up glory holes. He brings up seagulling.
He brings up all of the sexual terms.
And then there's the guy named Tyler, who's just kind of like a well-rounded guy. I think he's supposed to be like the hot guy of the group, but I can't even tell. He ends up... The really, really slut girl has a crush on him, but he has a crush... No, wait, sorry. The virgin-turned slut girl has a crush on him, but he has a crush on the really, really slut girl, and then they end up having sex. But the one scene that really was just kind of blown past, and they didn't really even mention it. They never really mentioned it. He goes in the bathroom, and after talking about glory holes earlier, he notices that there's one into the sister's bedroom. Turns out, though, the sister isn't home, and it's actually the boyfriend, or the brother that likes to masturbate a lot, who's sucking him off on the other side. That is not brought up more than once.
It's not even really brought up.
It's brought up, but it's never resolved. It's like, that wasn't me behind the wall. And he's like, cool. And
we're back to the races here.
Seriously, it was never brought up that this guy is essentially bisexual. Nothing wrong with that, but it should be noted.
Ladies swallow. Apparently she does a lot. Her vitamin C count must be awesome.
Alright, and then there's, let's see here, we talked about the adult characters. Is that all the boys, really?
There really isn't that many. I mean, to be honest,
there was more.
You would think. There's Corey Feldman's friends, but at the same time, they're only in a couple scenes, and one of them's like the stereotypical yokel. But
that reminds me, I forgot 2 circles on my giant chart. It's a quad-dodecagon.
Fuck that.
Alright, so that's essentially all the characters. They all have sex with each other. At one point or another, everyone's dick is out in front of each other. One way or another.
I mean, like, the funny thing is, like, one of the first scenes in the movie, the slutty girl, April, she blows, like, 3 guys. And one of the first people she ends up blowing is actually the guy who's the screenwriter, so fuck you. What is it, Jeff Siegel is his name, I think, and whatnot?
Yep.
Yeah, because he needs to also throw Siegel into the movie even more than his own fucking name.
But I'm just, baby.
The thing is, though, when it comes down to movies involving teens talking about nothing about sex and how much it fucking fascinates their lives and all that jazz, the funny thing is, this movie came out in 2009, and any of the people who have actually been, like, fans of our channel for a long time, they'll know that, in 2009, we had begun showing trailers for our film Suburban Children, which is basically essentially that. But at the same time, though, it's a satire. It's a dark satire. I mean, or at least I like to think so. You can think whatever the fuck you want about the movie. It's good, bad, shot on a webcam, whatever the hell it was. It was shot on an XH81, by the way. But at the same time, it was not just entirely focused on people getting laid. It's also the consequences that people have from that. They play off the consequences in this movie as if they're nothing. Like, especially, like, they leave, like, the fact that Corey Feldman has apparently been fucking these girls.
Corey Feldman is not only a serial pedophile, he is a drug addict entirely on coke. And not that it's like...
and he's spreading STDs.
Yeah, he has cunt worms.
Or at least that's what they call it and whatnot. I don't even know if that's a real thing.
It isn't. Unless there is just a parasite, but I doubt it's like...
I bet it's another Urban Dictionary thing.
Probably. Okay. So we've talked a lot about the plot and stuff, even though nothing fucking happened.
Let's talk about the writing.
Okay. Yeah, the writing overall. How do people talk to each other? Dialogue. How is the dialogue? It's all sex.
From the very first line.
Lines were, hey, you can taste your own cum.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, though, at the same time, there's plenty of other movies that literally do the same topic much better. 2 movies come right off the top of my head when it comes down to talking about sex, regardless of whether or not it's played up for good or bad benefits. It's Larry Clark's Bully, which the very first line of the movie is, I want you to suck my balls, or something like that. And the second one is Steve McQueen's Shame, which is about a sex addict involving Michael Fassbender.
That one... Hold on, did you say...
Shame.
Yeah, I know, but did you say it didn't have consequences?
No, it's about... Like,
yeah.
Those are 2 really good movies about the subject matter. This movie is all these people... Like,
it's like the teenage dream when you're going through the hormonal changes. You're just like, wait a minute, hold up.
It has a...
Everybody has sex with everybody. This is the greatest idea I've ever had.
And you know what the funny thing is? This thing takes this... Now, I wouldn't even say, like, if it's supposed to be a comedy and things are supposed to be screwballing and whatnot, you know what? The Odd Couple dealt with relationship issues more than this fucking movie. And that movie is fucking hilarious.
There's only one relationship in this movie. Everyone else is just hooking up.
Yeah.
Drop.
Yeah.
Everyone else is just hooking up. There's only one relationship, and it's the abusive one.
Yeah.
So
he beats her in one scene. I think she, like, falls down the stairs or something.
No. Here's the exact thing that happened. Scenes earlier, he made her strip in front of his friends. For his friends.
Apparently he's all drunk and coked up and shit like that.
He's drunk and coked up. He doesn't remember any of it. So when she mentions it a few days later, he's like, you're a fucking whore. Get the fuck out of my house. And then after a few more dialogue, he ends up slapping her. And then you thought she fell down the stairs. I thought that it was just like kind of a reaction shot of him. I don't think she fell
I
down
think
the
she
stairs.
just like slammed into the wall and fell down, or at least that's what they were going for. It
Point
was
being,
very muffled. It was like,
I feel like the director's trying to get, or the writer is trying to get across, hey, relationships suck. Just fuck each other.
just fuck around. There's no problem with that.
No,
just
man.
make sure you wrap up and fuck around.
Notice, okay, in the very end of the movie, only 2 people really have consequences. And it was the 2 people in the relationship. The first person, the girl, she ends up being entirely alone. She doesn't have anyone. She tries hitting on that teacher character from earlier and fails entirely. She is completely alone, and it's devastating to her. The second one is the, Corey. Corey, why am I forgetting his name? Feldman. His name Manfeld. I was like, that's not even close.
Manfeld!
Corey Feldman.
It's you, Manfeld!
Corey Manfeld. He ends up being, he's diagnosed with an STD. But, I mean, even then, his life is not ruined at all. So it's like the only person who wanted just a relationship is fucked over entirely. The person who wanted to have sex,
no, the person
but have a relationship.
Also, the one person who's like, wanted to have sex and start dating the other person, she completely forgets about Tyler altogether, and then just goes right for Corey because he's the guy who's there.
Apparently, if your pants are down and your shirt is up, that's it.
That's all you need.
You are now number 1 in my book.
Yeah!
I'm sorry.
It's just no.
It doesn't work.
Just no.
That's what we think of writing.
None of this movie works. None of it. No. Just no. And half of it's really lazy too. It's the lowest common denominator when it comes down to this. There's no subtlety. There's no
Surprised
subtext.
there were no fart jokes.
And also the characters of the girls. I'm sorry. This is obviously written by someone who does not know how to write female characters.
The correct word is dude.
Written by a total bro. This guy was a total bro. But the female characters are all one note. They're superficial as shit. All of the characters are introduced in the same way, kind of like almost like a MySpace chat type of thing, where like it lists all their likes off. I'm like, no, that doesn't count as exposition.
Yeah,
it doesn't work that way.
Just have a picture of them, and then it's like name what their like life lesson is, and it's like love to fuck, haha.
Loves giving head.
Loves girls. Loves porn. Loves feet. There you go, John Johnson. That's all the intro they give to these characters. Now, admittedly, more shows up over time, but it's not character development, it's plot development.
It's not even plot development, it's just shenanigans.
Exactly, that just happened to involve the characters. You happen to find out that this one character likes coke. Because they show him doing coke.
And also because it said in the very beginning, it's like
loves cocaine.
Girls. Cocaine.
No, not girls. Underage girls. It specifically said.
Did it say underage girls?
It said yes.
Okay, so he's a statutory rapist.
Yep.
Which he is totally doing in this movie with 2 different girls. He's statutorily raping
and
2 people.
And forced them to make out with each other.
Well, the girl with the black hair actually was into it, which is the weird thing.
She had to push on both sides of the head.
Yeah, but you can. Well, the girl wasn't. The other, what's her name?
Point being, he's a douche, and I hate.
But whatever her name is and whatnot. The one that was his girlfriend was crying. There was so many tears. She is crying so much. Now, the funny thing is, actually, when she's crying, the actress does a decent job.
Yeah, she's good.
She literally shows some real emotion there. And I feel bad because it's squandered on such a squanderable film. Okay, just
do we have anything? Okay, like we said,
everything
else is basically...
Two last things. Cinematography and editing. This is really brief because they're both combined together of how they also don't work. When it comes down to cinematography, it's not bad. There's actually a couple of really decent tracking shots. Like the very first shot of the movie is a really long tracking shot. But at the same time, the editing is one. It's only there in time to the actors talking. It doesn't actually try to control the flow of the pacing. It literally reacts to how people were talking in the scene.
It's a matter of they don't. If someone's talking off frame, let's just switch to a different angle. There they are. They're in frame. All right, now let's cut back to whoever's talking now.
Yeah,
it's not a matter. It's not
artful. It's basic. It's standard. It's somebody doing this for a paycheck.
And that's the other.
And this movie only cost $400,000, so I don't know how much of a paycheck you were going to get.
When it came down to, you were talking about blocking earlier. I interrupted you, but it was a common complaint about the Star Wars prequel trilogy is that it's just people walking.
Yeah.
Like, in every single shot, they walk, they stand, they talk, and then one person leaves. That's it.
It's awful blocking.
In this movie, however, it's worse than that because whatever position they are
they
stay there. They don't leave that position until you cut to a different scene and then come back.
And the thing is, like, there's so many scenes where people are just sitting around a table doing nothing and whatnot. There's nothing that drives the scene forward. They're just talking. And yeah, sure, you can say that. I mean, this is not even a plug. You can actually say that about a lot of our films. But the thing is, no, stop it. But the thing is, though, at the same time, I like to think that we have action that drives forward the next scene. This one is incidental that the scene takes place after the one you just watched.
Right. I would almost like to liken it to a bad version of Clerks. No one event causes the next event.
Or even better, a bad version of Clerks 2.
Yeah, there you go. No one version causes the next event, but they all kind of lead up to the final events. Is the best way I can say. Nothing builds up on each
Even though the end of the actual movie, the technical end when the credits start rolling was a big fuck you to the audience because nothing's solved, nothing ends. It just stops all of a sudden. It's like a TV show that gets canceled after the pilot.
The very final shot before the credits was the one girl in the relationship, the abusive relationship. She's being told, I never liked you. I never loved you. Get the fuck out of my house.
While he's
fucking the other girl. So she's just like walking out of the house. She put all her clothes on. She's walking out of the house. She's walking down the street. Some shitty fucking indie guitar music starts playing. No. That was earlier.
Yeah.
I guess this is the end.
I guess it's the end. Someone trying to be Bob Dylan, apparently.
Coming. Shit was happening.
Shit got real.
Couldn't ever seen this coming in an abusive relationship. I guess I'm kind of blind to that fact.
I mean, the funny thing is, like, I'm not even a huge fan of Bob Dylan, even though he's great lyricist, but he just can't sing for shit. This is somebody who can't sing for shit and is not a great lyricist. And it's not even a good guitar player either. So
then she's walking down the street.
Crying.
Multiple crossfades of just her crying walking down the street. Slow dolly out as credits start rolling.
Now, have you ever seen the movie The Third Man with Orson Welles and whatnot? And the final scene of the movie is the guy waiting on the road for the girl to come up and walk to him, and she ends up walking past him, and the movie ends at that point. That was a really good shot, because it explains the dynamic between those two characters as well as all of the shit that happened in the movie. Yeah. You know what happened with this movie? I think they just didn't have an idea how to end it.
Nope. They were just like, okay, look, the relationship between them is over.
And we're out of money.
No, that's the other thing. The relationship between the abusive relationship, it supposedly ends multiple times. Like, she is like, oh God, I can't believe you did this. Like, she is just in tears multiple times as she walks out of his house. What makes this time any different? Not a goddamn thing, except he's fucking another girl in front of her. He's been fucking other girls the entire time. This is the first time he did it in front of her.
The funny thing is, though, I will say that it does accurately show the stupid double standard people have when it comes down to relationships and cheating, where the guy, whatnot, like, he's like, oh, you're such a player, and, you're good on you, bro, and whatnot, and the moment that he even thinks that the girl is cheating, he's like, you fucking whore!
Yeah, there's a note that they just happened to bring. I don't even remember it from anywhere else. I think it just happened to be there. He's like, it's a note about a teacher's butt.
I don't think it was.
They
didn't even pass it in the class. It was just there. Just came up with it and whatnot. Here, throw this shit in.
You're fucking cheating on me? It's right here in writing. That doesn't mean a goddamn thing.
Well, not the hitting part necessarily, but at the same time, though, it's like, that, like, I get, but at the same time, it's not continuous. None of the tropes in this movie are continuous. And that is one of the major flaws, because it doesn't fucking finish anything. All the little post-credit things that it has at the very end of the movie.
1 week later.
Yeah, 1 week later.
Fucking changed.
Nothing's changed. Things have gotten worse for people. I mean, like, and just everything about this movie is mean-spirited.
It is. I don't know how this is a comedy.
I can't even qualify it as that. I can't. Yeah. I mean, I really can't.
Okay. So, are we done?
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts? All right.
I'm going
to go first here. I hated this movie. I hated the characters. I hated everything about it. as we said before, acting above average. People played their roles competently. Doesn't mean I like the characters. No. It means they played their roles competently. Cinematography, editing, bit below average. Everything else in the movie, pretty average.
Forgot to say one thing about the editing. Have you ever heard of the term offsetting the frame?
If you record in square-ish format, 4:3, let's say,
or just 19, or by 16:9.
That doesn't look nice. No, you got to be 2.35:1. That's the standard cinema thing. But you can't just like.
If you look at any of our films, we do that.
If you scrunch it, it looks bad. So what do? You add the black bars. What did this guy do? He moved the motion of the picture within the black bars to simulate a panning down or panning up.
Now, when you offset the frame, the best thing to do is to do it gradually so people don't realize it's happening. This is very sudden. It jolts. And it's obvious that it's the frame moving and not the camera.
Maybe it's smoother than anything in the movie.
Yeah, and to be honest, actually, maybe it's just me because I have used offsetting the frame in my films before because I do shoot stuff in 2.35, and because it adds focus, it looks more of a cinematic feel and whatnot.
Well,
but at the same time, you don't shift around the frame every 5 seconds.
It's definitely not you. And I mean, he didn't do it every 5 seconds. It happened occasionally.
No, it happened occasionally. You noticed. You fucking noticed.
It's not just him. I've never once edited anything in widescreen or full screen or whatever. I noticed it. I noticed that it was a terrible shot. That's layman when it comes to editing. If you can notice it and you are just like some random guy, especially because it didn't need to pan down. Nothing about it needed to move the camera. They just did it because it was too static for too long.
Or else just because they wanted to get in every little bit of the action from the top and the bottom of the frame.
Yeah. So anyway, my final thoughts continuing. Everything was pretty standard, below average. That's normal for ShitFlix now. Acting was some of the better ones we've seen here. But the fucking story, if I could give negative stars, which I can, it's my rating system, I'm going to give it -5 out of 2 billion. I want it to be so far away from the top that it hurts. So
hurts so good.
I want it negative because the story just kills. Everything else, meh, 7s, 4s, I mean, now 10s now. I'm obviously at 2 billions. But 7s, 4s, it bounces around there. But for the story, for the writing, just for the overall content of it, I'm fine with you making a movie about sex. Go right ahead. But when it's just not when it teaches bad things, when it teaches, hey, you can fuck with no consequences and fuck relationships, they're not worth your time, no. Then you've made a mistake. Then you should not have made this film. Bad on you. I don't remember the director's name. So Jeff Siegel. I'm crediting you.
Well, he's also the producer too, so this is more his vision than anything else.
It's your fault and I hate you.
And if you've also been the cameo in this and whatnot that involved a guy getting head, where the director had a cameo where he was just a custodian wiping up a floor, you are at fault.
Alright. That's my final thoughts. Give it.
Mine, when it comes down to it, it's relatively the same thing. This movie fucking sucks. For all the reasons why it's mean-spirited, there's nothing. There's maybe 1 or 2 chuckles that we got out of the entire script, and I'm not even saying full-on laughs. I'm saying chuckles, like a little scoff.
Yeah.
But the one thing that really drove it out of everything else is you're right. You're perfectly right. It's the story. It's the screenplay. Not only do none of these people sound legitimately like they actually would say these lines, but then also in the way that they were told to deliver them was fucking atrocious. They did the best of what they could, and at times they did shine through a little bit. But at the same time, especially with the girl who plays April, they just like play it up like a dumb, stupid bitch who just loves cum. And like, you know, like I can't agree with this at all when it comes down. Even if it was meant to be a satire, if it was trying to satirize these types of people and whatnot, then that would have been okay. But you have to make that clear to your audience. It's called conveyance, and we need good conveyance.
There were several things that several people said that were legitimately true. Like you were saying, you've heard several people say that they like giving head because of the control it gives.
Yeah.
They said that in the movie. It can't be a satire if occasionally you're making these totally correct points and you're just throwing them off the cuff.
I mean, you can do that but at the same time, though, you need to weave it together.
Yeah.
You need to actually right characterization. And the thing is, this is another movie that does the whole thing of telling, not showing. Like, when it does show the sex and stuff like that, because that's all it decides it wants to show, it's annoying, it's flaccid, it's barely worth being in a softcore porno. There's that one point where he's fucking the girl, and you can obviously tell that he is not at all disrobed in the middle there. Like, it's lazy. But the thing is that on top of that, the real struggle here is the fact that it gives so little assurance and confidence to the audience to be smart.
Yeah.
This is the lowest brow humor I've seen to try. Well, this is one of the lowest, like, cheapest attempts at humor that I've seen for the show. And that's saying a lot.
Obama Nude is technically a comedy.
Or at least it's being qualified that on Netflix now. I don't think he considered it a
think
comedy.
that's like what The Room did, where it's like, it's a drama, and then it comes out, it's like...
It's a witty, dark... No, it's not. It's a drama. You just made a bad fucking movie. Accept it, move on.
Yep.
And fuck you, Tommy. So, just because I'm angry. This movie, that's what the thing is. It pissed me off. The more it went on, it just got angry. There was at a point at which I can't remember exactly when it was, but David literally just stopped and got up and walked to the corner. I can't remember.
No, I know. It was when the one kid was about to do the seagull thing.
Oh.
I was just like,
it was
they are about to commit incest.
15 minutes. 15 minutes left in the movie. And though the funny thing is, I also called the threesome bit when she came in and what I was like, he's going to be like, threesome. They're going to try to do a threesome.
Because this guy's such a scummy character, that's just what he would do. So
no, I will say one thing.
Out your character's mind.
I will say one thing about the girl, though. The way that she reacted to the whole situation was a genuine moment.
You mean crying as if you just got raped?
Well, it's not just that. It's also the fact of the matter is he shows absolutely no remorse at this. But at the same time, in the post-credit scene, all of that is negated. It's like, you're fucking my boyfriend, so you still are connected to this guy.
That's a good point. She does call him her boyfriend.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've known a lot of people through relationships who have become obsessive, but at the same time, there's a difference between being obsessive and being a dumb cunt, okay? And I use that in every bit of offensiveness that word can generate. And that can be with guys, too. Guys can be real cunts when it comes down to relationships. So, having said that...
We obviously like the movie.
Yeah, the funny thing is, when I came out with Suburban Children, my mom questioned the way she raised me because she didn't realize it was a satire. So I know about when it comes down for satirical information being taken wrongly because of bad conveyance. That was what happened. I've gone through that. But I didn't have to spend $400,000 to fucking figure that out. I had to spend... $200?
Oh, maybe.
Maybe that and whatnot. Mainly just because of how much the blunts and the gas cost for the movie. But I think we ordered food a couple times. But
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Yeah, you were on vacation for the most part. So and we shot the movie in like 5 days too.
So fuck this movie.
So if we were able to create a more compelling movie when I was 19, then fuck you, give me some money. Whatnot. Give me the $400,000. I have a couple scripts that are good that are waiting to be made into movies. I just need the budget for it. But it's just, that's another thing. The whole fact that this movie was made, and also with the title actors that are fucking in it, it fucking makes me frustrated. It really does. I mean, that's really all that I can really say about the movie. So that's just really... That's everything. It really is everything.
Matt?
Yeah.
Your foot.
What about it?
Shit's nasty. Get it away.
Oh, sorry. Pop it, Pete.
Yeah.